Ariana Grande is one of the most recognizable artists alive, a global icon with the kind of fame most people would give anything for. And that was the price she paid, through a cycle of pain, reinvention, and sacrifice. Because in Hollywood, your pain is your currency to superstardom. Use your pain to create the perfect sound, wrap it in glitter, and the world will love you for it. Her story started on a kids show, Victorious, where Ariana was never supposed to shine. She was there to support the star, Victoria Justice, Nickelodeon's next big thing. Victoria played it safe. She followed the rules, did everything right. But Hollywood needed something more, a piece of herself to give the audience, and Victoria wouldn't budge. So they turned to Ariana. They started small, her voice, her quirkiness, her charm. She gave it. Then came more, her image, her body, her heart. And she gave that too, but they kept asking. And she kept giving, and it worked. She became a superstar. She beat Victoria Justice, but it cost her everything. Before the side character became the superstar, it all began with dinner. Dan Snyder, then a powerhouse in Nickelodeon, had spotted Victoria Spark while she was still on Zoe 101.
He took me to dinner one night and was like, Victoria, like, what would you want your show to be about? Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, when I first moved out to LA, I didn't know anyone, and I was enrolled in a performing arts middle school, and I had singing and acting and dance class every day.
Yeah.
And that was, that was my life. And so I think it'd be cool to do a show based off of that.
And it's funny.
Yeah.
That spark became Tori Vega. Her character was an upbeat performing arts student. She was surrounded by eccentric classmates and often caught in fun offbeat plots. The show was colorful, it was weird, sometimes hilarious, sometimes uncomfortable, and it was a huge hit. But for Nickelodeon, ratings weren't the end game. They had their eyes on Disney, and how sitcoms were turning actors into stars. Miley, Selena, Demi. And they thought they figured out their formula to do the same. So they brought in Columbia Records. At the time, Columbia was backing some of the hottest artists in music. Beyonce, Adele. Victoria was supposed to be their answer to Disney, their breakout star. But they misunderstood the assignment from day one. Dan Snyder may have created a hit, but it wasn't built for her. Because if you've ever seen Victoria Justice in an interview, you know she's polished, poised, she's the girl next door. But Victoria's? It was loud, offbeat, absurd by design, and sometimes maybe a little too far.
So do you feel like you did well? I mean, Andre wrote an amazing song and he said we sounded great together.
A world she never fully fit into, yet was expected to carry on her shoulders. Still, she stuck to the script. Even when it didn't sound like her. Even when the role stopped feeling like hers. She sang the songs. She wore what they gave her. She followed the rules. Dan's rules. And for a while, it worked. The ratings were high, she did everything right. But in Hollywood, right isn't enough. Sometimes things change, and the plans shift with them. And that's exactly what would happen to Victoria. Because while she followed the rules, someone started stealing the spotlight. Ariana Grande. Fresh off Broadway, cast as Cat Valentine. A girl with a helium voice, red hair, and cartoon character vibes. She was supposed to bring comic relief.
Hi! Ew, Jade, your outfit's all dirty.
Oh, no, I'll never win the prison beauty pageant.
Wait, they have that?
Where have you been?
I joined a prison gang!
What do you mean?
Well, this group of really mean, tough prison ladies said I'm cute and funny, so they invited me to join their prison gang.
What, and you said yes?
Uh-huh. I told the gang ladies I'm gonna make us all special t-shirts.
Just another quirky classmate in Dan Snyder's bizarre world.
Never put me down like that again.
Ow! I was helping Tori.
But the producers missed something crucial. They weren't just playing characters, they were entertainers. And Ariana, she wasn't just background noise, she was explosive. And soon, even the industry couldn't ignore it. It started quietly, just covers on YouTube while she was still filming Victorious. But those covers hit differently. And that's when the world found out. That voice, Mariah Carey level.
I didn't mean it when I said I didn't love you so. I should've held on tight, I never should've let you go. I didn't know nothing. nothing. I was stupid, I was foolish, I was lying to myself.
And suddenly, people started to see that she wasn't just a side piece. But Nickelodeon had already typecast her. She smiled through it, said the right things, played along, but inside, she was over it. Years later, she finally said what she'd been holding in. She was tired of being a joke, tired of the red hair, tired of playing someone she wasn't. She wanted respect, so she made a choice. She was done playing by Dan Snyder's rules, and Nickelodeon's too. She covered a Justin Bieber song, but it wasn't just for her fans. It was a message directed to one man, Scooter Braun, the mastermind behind Bieber's rise, the guy who could turn talent into a global empire. Ariana knew he'd hear it, and he did.
How did you discover Ariana? She sang a cover of Justin's called Die in Your Arms. I saw it on YouTube, and I was like, why is Nickelodeon not signing this girl? And then she was at Universal, was done the deal, and I was like, I need to work with this girl. And I found out she was actually trying to reach me, but no one told me.
She may have been playing Cat Valentine on screen, but off screen, she was making her exit. One foot in the network studio, the other into the real industry, Hollywood, where the rewards are massive, but the price, it's everything. And it was a good thing she made her move, because Nickelodeon's rules, they were about to change without warning. After just 3 seasons, Victoria was cancelled. Officially, budget cuts, a dip in ratings. Unofficially, whispers that Victoria wanted more. Freedom, a fresh start, the usual spin. But the truth wasn't so clean. Creative tensions, cast friction, and rising concern over Dan Snyder, the man behind it all. Whispers about his behavior had lived in the shadows for years. Back then, they were easy to ignore. But let's be honest, there was always something off about his presence around his kids. Regardless, both girls had followed the rules, smiled, played the part. But when the show ended, so did the illusion. Because Nickelodeon and Hollywood, they're different worlds, but they run on the same rules. Rules that test you, push you, see how well you serve them. And just when you think you're breaking them, they wanted you to. Because the truth is, the rules are never fixed. They're rewritten anytime powers need them to be. With Victoria's behind her, Victoria Justice saw it as a fresh start. She thought the game was over, that she was finally free, and she really believed that when she signed with Columbia Records. She even said in an interview with Teen Vogue, "Now I get to write songs that are 100% me." But when she started working with Columbia Records, reality would hit her quickly. She wasn't writing the songs alone, but with a team. It wasn't what she imagined. Still, she shot the video, did the promo, played along, just like always. And then came her debut single, Gold. Her team had created a bubblegum pop soundtrack designed for mass appeal. It was supposed to put Victoria on the map, but instead, the song flopped, hard. And looking back, it's not hard to see why. It wasn't just that it sounded manufactured, it sounded like everything else on the radio. Columbia was chasing a trend that had already passed, but the fans didn't buy it, because they didn't see her as one of them. And the truth is, they were right, she wasn't. Victoria didn't want to play a pop princess. She wanted to write music that meant something. She looked up to artists like Sarah Bareilles, Alicia Keys, artists with a story to tell who showed growth. But Columbia wasn't interested in that story. They just wanted her to follow their rules. She found out that although she had escaped Nickelodeon, she was still in another situation where she was forced to follow the rules of others. While Victoria was navigating the industry confusion about who she should be, Ariana signed with Republic Records. With Scooter Braun by her side, they knew exactly what needed to be done in order for her to win. But little did young Ariana know, the price would be much higher than she expected. The red hair was gone, so was the kid persona. She was done with Nickelodeon's rules. She was ready to break them. There would be no easing into adulthood by playing it safe. They were launching straight into it, unapologetically. The music followed fast. Her debut single, The Way, featuring Mac Miller, changed everything. It turned her from a Nickelodeon child star into a serious singer overnight. From there, she only climbed higher. Not only was it the hits that came, her voice drew comparisons to Mariah Carey. But that came with a catch. Yes, the talent was real, but so were the rumors. Photo shoot walkouts, strict interview rules, fan events that felt tense. The diva label followed her, whether it fit or not, and her personal life became just as public. She started dating rapper Big Sean. The relationship was calm, but short-lived, lasting only 8 months. Meanwhile, her second album, My Everything, exploded. The song was more sexual, the lyrics were bolder, but the image? Still the same high ponytail. Still the baby doll dresses, still the oversized sweaters and cat ears. A teen idol on the outside, with grown woman lyrics underneath. It created a contradiction, and the target audience? Teen girls. and adult men. But that contradiction wasn't a glitch. It was a blueprint. Sex appeal wrapped in innocence. A strategy pop culture had already perfected. Britney, Christina, and now Ariana. Sweet enough for girls to idolize, provocative enough to keep adults watching. Ariana was winning harder than she ever thought was possible. Platinum records, sold out tours, but the cost was starting to grow. And soon, it would become more evident than ever. Meanwhile, Victoria was on a journey of her own. After the disaster of Gold, she vowed that it would never happen again. And it didn't. But neither did her success. See, the industry doesn't often reward individuality. On the contrary, it craves control. And to make matters worse, the industry will make up any narrative that benefits them, even if it means destroying the artists they built up. And with Victoria and Ariana, it did. With every big hit from Ariana, the distance between her and her victorious past grew wider. But so did the stories. The Hollywood rumor mill ground the next big hit. Victoria was jealous of Ariana. Old clips taken out of context. They were framed as petty, proof of Victoria's resentment towards Ariana. One moment, the infamous We All Can Sing clip went viral.
That's so true, Liz. You sing a lot too. Like, especially during rehearsals. We all sing. True. Yeah, I get.
In another famous report, Ariana was quoted as talking about one girl not wanting to tour. To make matters worse, during her early career, Ariana had talked about being bullied. No names were mentioned, but it was enough for fans and journalists alike to start putting the pieces together. Could she be talking about Victoria? Both Victoria and Ariana went on the record multiple times defending each other, but it didn't matter. The story was too good to let go. It generated buzz around Ariana. It crushed the spirits of Victoria. Two birds, one stone. See? The system wasn't going to let Victoria walk away quietly, the way she had hoped. She had found herself dragged into the headlines. True to character, she stayed calm. She responded with grace, and tried to move forward. But even after doing everything right, she was alone. She was left to fend for herself against a machine out for blood. It was clear music wasn't her way forward. She had a confused sound and lacked a support system. So, she pivoted back to acting, but this time on her own terms. She was determined to choose her own rules. In 2015, she starred in Eye Candy, a cyber thriller that marked a clear departure from her Nickelodeon days. Then came Naomi, and Ellie's No Last Kiss List, a romantic drama with quiet humor. In 2016, she really struck out, the Rocky Horror Picture Story. It was a bold reboot that stretched her abilities. None of these were blockbusters, but they were her choices. All of them were drama-free, non-sexualized, fulfilled her, and paid the bills. In reality, these were the kinds of roles she never had been able to choose if she was still managed by big brands like Nickelodeon. And you know what? It worked. Why? Because for the first time, she wasn't chasing approval. She was building something that reflected who she really was. She wasn't here to follow Hollywood's rules. She was here to make her own rules, and she was determined not to break them. She refused to become another pop product, refused to sell a sexed-up image wrapped in false innocence. And even as the Ariana drama lingered, she stayed the course, true to herself as an artist, and even more, as a person. She may not have had the success of Ariana, but in the ways that count, Victoria was victorious. All the while, Ariana continued to play the Hollywood game, and because she followed the guidance of her label and Scooter Braun, she kept climbing. When you play a game on this level, there comes a price. For Ariana, one was the publicity her relationships got, and it got messy. After she broke up with Big Sean, she started dating one of her backup dancers. This led to the infamous donut licking video. Her childish immaturity was there for all to judge. It went viral and damaged her reputation, but it also strengthened her reach. Just months later, she was with Mac Miller. Ariana was moving fast, relationship after relationship. As for her music, it went deeper into the dangerous territory. Her third album, Dangerous Woman, left little to the imagination. Tracks like Side to Side with Nicki Minaj and Into You pushed her into a fully explicit and sexualized era. And this time her visuals had evolved into an even bigger contradiction. Still the high ponytail, but her outfit screamed dominatrix. Still the baby voice at times, but her lyrics were direct about her sexualization. She was singing adult fantasies, wrapped in a teen idol's uniform. Ariana was still topping the charts, but the contradiction, it was obvious. Desperate for attention? Maybe. But she was still executing the old proven strategy. Sweet girl meets seductive siren. However, Hollywood games can't prepare you for everything. Manchester, 2017. A deadly bombing at the Manchester Arena Stadium targeting her and her fans killed 22 people and traumatized thousands. Ariana was crushed. The shock, the pain, the suffering, those things were all real. As were the dead and the bomb fragments that split the stadium open. Most artists would have crumbled. Most might have needed years of counseling. But Ariana was something special. Whatever rules or boundaries or labels she shattered, she had drive. She has a fire and a passion that pushed her through. In record time, Scooter and Ariana reorganized the event One Love Manchester. And then came No Tears Left to Cry. It wasn't just another cutesy or girl bossy pop song. It was a moment for healing, where she expressed her pain in the wake of the tragedy. It demonstrated real strength. But here's the irony. It was a real grown-up song. It was real Ariana. In writing that song, she actually showed a glimpse of everything she could have been. And maybe everything she would have been, had this not happened next. A year after Manchester, she ended things with Mac Miller. Only weeks later, she was engaged to Pete Davidson. For a short while, it felt like a fairy tale written in Sharpie. Then Mac died. And just like that, it all unraveled. The grief was different this time. He wasn't just a person in a crowded stadium. He wasn't even just an ex. He was someone she had loved. And the world watched her grieve in 4K 360-degree real-time video. Her engagement collapsed under the weight of it. But her response? Unlike No Tears Left to Cry and her heartfelt vulnerability after the Manchester attack, Ariana went on the offensive. Maybe she thought that she could attack to defend. Maybe becoming a workaholic was the only way she could work through the pain. We don't know. But what we do know is that her music wasn't the same. It was sexier, louder, intentionally offensive and provocative. God is a Woman, 7 Rings, Thank You Next, and 34 plus 35. She started adding tattoos, jewelry, and flexing her status. She gave up any pretense of girly innocence and appeared on stage in a latex catsuit. Even as she was singing about sexual liberation and being on top, she wasn't escaping her grief. She was wearing it, living it, selling it. And the world? Well, they bought every second. Because Hollywood doesn't just love a tragic story, it loves turning it into profit. And with Ariana, boy did they cash in big. At some point, Ariana's determination wavered. Sure, she'd been dreaming of big bucks and boss bitches, but maybe, just maybe, she actually wanted real love too. A piece of her soul dreamed of building a real family. And if she's on top of the world, surely she can have it too, right? And so, she fell for Dalton Gomez, a quiet real estate broker. No fame, no headlines, no chaos, is exactly what she needed. They married and kept the whole thing private. Finally, she had something real, something that didn't just feel like it needed the spotlight. But that comfort proved fragile. And behind the walls of her house of cards, something came tumbling down. Only 3 years after their nuptials, the marriage ended. They dealt with it quietly, sadly, without a public fight. At the same time, seemingly unconnected, she parted ways with Scooter Braun. Perhaps finally, she was in charge of her own career. No more moving in lockstep with Hollywood's playbook. But at what cost? No one is sure. Because Ariana had changed. More tattoos. The kind that sparks concern, but no answers. And then came the drama. Not generated by a studio or a label. Not spun up out of fake stories. But drama she created all by herself. She went public with a relationship with a married man, Ethan Slater. It was truly a stupid move by Ethan Slater. In one fell swoop, he lost his family, his wife, his dignity, the whole life he worked for. All for 5 minutes of fame with an icon. Worth it? You decide. But the real drama was in what came next. Fans swooped in to defend Ariana. He should have known better. He did this to himself. Maybe she didn't know. And Ariana could have gotten away scot-free. She was a naive innocent. He was the evil cheater. Until a flurry of tweets. Ariana revealed that not only did she know about the relationship, that was the only reason she was interested in him in the first place. She didn't just accept the label of homewrecker, she embraced it. But this wasn't out of character. She had warned us before, years earlier, when she released a Break Up With Your Girlfriend, I'm Bored, a track where she literally tempts a man just to leave his girl, because she's bored. Sure, fans tried to defend her and claim she was talking to herself, or something. But in that context, it's clear what's going on. Ariana Grande had won the game, but she'd lost her soul. Sure, she's still one of the most famous women on the planet. Still, victorious in the eyes of Hollywood. But when you look closely, she seems hollowed out, tired. She looks like someone who gave everything just to stay on top. And honestly, it doesn't look like there's much more to give. Meanwhile, the cost was something Victoria Justice recognized long before the headlines did. That's why she chose a different road. One with less fame, fewer flashing lights, but more peace, more control. Her movies didn't hit, the songs didn't chart, but they had soul, and the story was hers to tell. Victoria Justice will never top Ariana's fame. She won't break streaming records or sell out stadiums, but that was never the point, because in the end, while Ariana won the game, she lost the freedom to quit playing, and Victoria, sure she might have lost the spotlight, but she kept everything else.